This man had a healing magic. Whenever the girl he liked got hurt, he would quickly use his magic to heal the wound on her face. Then, one night, with just the two of them left, he used his healing magic again, showing off his newly created 8-pack abs. That's how he thought he could win her over. She found Ken's abs a bit over the top. Ken asked her what was wrong, and she became shy. Ken was originally just a high school student. One day, after school, it suddenly started raining. Suzune came over with an umbrella and invited Ken to walk home with her, and Ichiru came along too. Suddenly, a magic circle appeared beneath their feet. When the light faded, Ken opened his eyes again, and found himself face to face with the king of another world. Before Ken could react, Ichiru explained that he had just woken up as well. Ken turned to Suzune, who was so excited she was about to faint. Ken was shocked by the sight, and just then, the king spoke. He explained that Ken and the others were summoned heroes. 2 years ago, his kingdom was attacked by the Demon King's army, and after a hard battle, they managed to temporarily repel the enemy. But to prepare for the next assault, the king had no choice but to use his last resort, summoning heroes. Suzune was still very excited, but Ichiru was angry. He didn't want to be a hero, he just wanted to go home. The king understood Ichiru's feelings, but he could only summon the heroes. He didn't know how to send them back. After hearing this explanation, Ichiru became even angrier, and walked towards the king. The soldiers immediately raised their weapons, and the atmosphere became tense. Ken stepped in to stop Ichiru, but the king stood up. He promised to find a way to send them back as soon as possible, and knelt before them, begging them to help the kingdom in the meantime. The king's attitude was sincere, and Suzune was moved. But before that, Suzune had one question. How did the king know they were heroes? It turned out that the magic circle used to summon heroes had a screening function, and anyone summoned would hear the sound of bells. When they heard this, they were shocked, because Ken hadn't heard anything. This meant that Ken wasn't supposed to be summoned, yet here he was. The nun decided to test their magical attributes. Suzune was tested first and was found to have strong lightning magic, while Ichiru had rare light magic. Now it was Ken's turn. He placed his hand on the crystal ball, and it glowed green. The nun immediately realized something was wrong, and hurriedly took Ken to the king. She was very anxious, but the king remained calm and even joked. He asked the nun if Ken had the dark attribute, and the nun responded that Ken's crystal ball was green. The king was immediately shocked. The soldiers around them began whispering. The king silenced them, telling them to stop talking. Ken had no idea how dangerous his attribute was. The king decided Ken needed to leave the castle immediately. While the king was pondering where to hide Ken, the leader of the kingdom's rescue team, Rosu, burst through the door. Everyone was frightened into silence upon seeing her. Rosu's purpose today was to inquire about the summoning of the heroes. She immediately turned to Ken. The king quickly explained that Ken was just an ordinary boy. The king's gaze was firm, and Rosu believed him. So, the nun took the opportunity to invite Rosu to meet the real hero, temporarily easing the tension. However, Ken still didn't understand the situation. He brought up his earlier question again. What does green represent? When Rosu heard Ken mention green, he nodded. Rosu insisted that the king lend Ken to her, and the king ordered the nun to take Ken away immediately.